Hello, everybody. Thanks for rebroadcast, and all these sessions should be recorded. So if anybody had any trouble joining earlier, we should be able to get you those videos on our YouTube channel just a little bit after the event. Feel free to, in chat on Twitch, or if you're on the webinar, GoToWebinar system, you can ask questions throughout these sessions and follow up. So I'm going to try this new video, and we'll see if it works.
Hi, I'm Walter Johnson. I'm the president of the Esports Club at the University of Kentucky. When I got here, it was just it's just a stress reliever. Honestly, just like some people play music or draw or anything like that. It's just something I find really enjoyable.
My name is Brianna Richardson. I'm a senior here at UK and a member of the Esports Club. For me, it's just stress relief. I love the storytelling aspect of it. People love to watch movies because they love the adventure. When you play a game, you are in that story. You can make decisions and change it. I just love being in these like fantasy worlds.
Getting competitive was just something that started because my friends were doing it. One of our friends was he was top 100 or something in a game, and we were like, maybe we'll start picking this up and he can teach us something or two. And that's kind of how we got to where we are now and competing with other colleges.
I don't do the competitive side of it. I just like the fact that there's a community for gaming.
A big name like Gen G coming in the UK would, I think, show a lot of people that there's a community here for you, and I think you'd sort of be part of that. I think this could be a pretty large tool for UK recruiting. I've written a paper on esports in the United States and at the collegiate level, and we kind of exist in this weird area where nothing is set up, but a lot of schools are already putting money into it and putting resources into it. And I think that just adding our name to that growing list puts us on the map in terms of gaming.
I am one of the few girls in it, and I think that should change because I know tons of girls that do love to play games. I think the broader that umbrella of recruitment is, the more types of people we get involved, and I think that will include more girls as well.
It's really a hobby that brings a lot of people together, and I think that it kind of shed a lot more light on the community behind it.
I think it's really cool that UK has so much going on, and I think it's a really smart choice actually to kind of get involved with esports because it is such a growing community.
I think it's not really about what gaming is, but about what gaming can do. It can build communities, it can create a space for competition. It really has a way to just bring emotion out of people that you wouldn't typically expect. And that's one of the things I find really unique about it, in terms of running the club and just talking to students, is that a lot of them have their own different definitions that they all want to see it do something in the future. Hi, I'm Walter Johnson. I'm the president of.
All right, cool. So let's see if I can get back my audio back. All right, so yeah, thanks Heath for joining us.
Glad to be here. It's
yeah.
First thing I want to say is I really value the opportunity to get to visit with you. I'm a little disappointed, John, we don't get to do it at BurgerFi like normal, but I will take this as a second. I am really privileged to get to come and speak for a minute, getting to go to Vector last year at EKU and see the environment and kind of witness the diverse group that came to both speak and then to kind of take it in. I'm sad we can't get to do that again, but the way you guys have laid this out and the opportunity to still bring people together, the innovation you guys have showed, and RunJumpDev team to pull this off is awesome. So it's awesome to get to be with you.
Yeah, thanks. Plan is the next year or whenever we can, we'll get back in person and kind of have a nice event with everybody in the same room. Yeah, I think we'd love to kind of talk about more of the esports and gaming stuff that you're doing at UK. I guess, can you kind of talk about sort of the initiative and how that got started, or what you're doing there?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been on a journey for about 2 years now as a university, really across the campus, and I'm a part of a matrixed group across UK. that involves people both from the administrative side, like myself, that's in IT, people on the finance and business side, folks from athletics, folks from marketing, and then probably most importantly, folks that have really, a good knowledge and understanding of both the student and academic sides of the campus to think about this sector. And I think we started with the word esports because it was a buzzword at the time that we were hearing. Our president at UK, President Capilouto, sits on the NCAA's Board of Governors, and so had gained some knowledge and insight from research that the NCAA was conducting, and really brought that kind of some of the knowledge he gained, but also just the energy he has as a leader to ask the campus, hey, go work together and learn more about this. And it's been a really fun and exciting journey. I'd say the smartest decision we made when we said, all right, we got a table of about 10 people. The smartest decision we made was going to talk to our students, because they were the ones that really helped to educate us, but point us in the direction of the places to go learn. But also, I think, as you heard in that video, bring different perspectives about what the space is right now and what we think it'll be. So esports was the original term, but I would say the terms have gotten maybe a little broader as we think about community and as we think about future engagements with students and community alike.
Yeah, because this is sort of part of the was it Smart Campus sort of initiative?
Yeah.
Broad kind of thing that this is maybe just the beginning, is sort of this competitive gaming side.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think one of the things that was really awesome for me about Vector last year was it gave me the context to come and see young people that are interested in game development, young people that are interested in creativity, in learning new skills, blending technology with art, with just amazing amounts of what I would define as creativity, something that I strive to gain more of, but don't always feel like I have a lot of. And so seeing that, I think, example here locally and within the region has helped us to shine a light a little bit more inside our own campus to say esports and gaming has a competitive side, and that's something we want to continue to learn more about. It's a reason why Gen G has been a really great partner for us early on to give us more insight. But what we're trying to form at UK, competitive gaming is just one component of many things that we would like to do and kind of accentuate. Our competitive gaming isn't varsity related, right? So we're not trying to go out and scholarship players right now. We're much more interested in kind of bringing players that want to play games and giving them opportunities to grow those skills and maybe learn some different skills through the campus and through the broader community that RunJumpDev and both Super Soul, both of the companies you're involved in, are good examples of kind of that fabric that we want to knit into.
All right, cool. So I guess maybe one great example of that is the Hoops at Home that you had just recently. That was like a really great event, I think, that maybe pulled together last minute, or spur of the moment, where you're trying to deal with, everybody at home and, connecting, the UK campus and community sort of. So maybe can you talk about kind of that and what was involved in putting that on?
Yeah, it was a total team effort. It was a great example for us of our partnership with JMI, which is our media rights holder on the campus. They work a lot with us on various campus rights, and Gen G, who JMI helped to introduce us to and has given us this platform for our partnership around esports and gaming. It was, I think one of the most encouraging things for us about doing it was, number one, that we could do it. And I know you guys can relate to that, and being able to go from a face-to-face event to something virtual, that we could do it and that we could bring it together with in many ways the same resources we would use pre-COVID-19. And so that was a real encouragement for us. So Gen G brought for us kind of that broadcasting background and expertise. They brought in a group called Super League Gaming that actually partnered with us through Gen G, and those folks really sat at the table and said, we've got a vision to make this look really special, and we think we've got about 2 weeks to pull it off. Will you lock arms with us through, this partnership? Can we get our hands dirty and do it? And so, as you know, John, we've got some folks at UK that are pretty talented. And so it was kind of the best of both worlds, because everybody's kind of sitting there with their arms crossed about a week before that, saying, well, does esports kind of get put on the back burner? And then this type of idea leapfrogs not only maybe some of the things we were planning to do this summer, but it really put us, I think, in a new category of saying, well, we could pull this off. Now we want to do more of them, and it was because of the community that really came out of that. The Twitch example of being able to stream, but also the way that not just the gamers were involved in it, but those that really wanted to kind of take in aspects of seeing it, watching it, chatting on it, and whether that was in the Discord or on the Twitch. So it was a really neat first guinea pig for us.
Yeah, and so a little more detail, that was like a NBA 2K20, right? Where
It was.
Basically you had people that were current students, you had like alumni, just all kinds of different people that could, join in and get
Yes.
added to the big tournaments. And then over several days, you kind of whittled people down to an eventual winner. And can you kind of maybe talk about kind of the groups of people that you got involved? I think,
Yeah.
that thing that I thought was so cool is you had students like as broadcasters and they're commentating and stuff like that.
It was awesome. It was great. Yeah, we did. So we were able, the focus on it was to bring together community with social distancing as the strongest message. I think we ended up being even more successful than we originally intended in helping to make that the focus. So we didn't, there was, this was really about enhancing what the community, the Big Blue Nation something they could jump in and be a part of. So we focused on 4 brackets. We had a current student bracket where we got a lot of submissions for participation. We had a future students bracket, and so these weren't all, obviously some of these young people were 14, 15, 16 years of age that ended up making the tournament. Hopefully they go to UK, that'd be awesome, but they were young people that were really into playing the game, and that ended up being a pretty incredibly competitive bracket, maybe more so than we anticipated. And then we had the 2 brackets on the other side were the alumni bracket, UK alums, and then we had a catch-all for Big Blue Nation and letting fans, people that just love the university, love to cheer on many of the sports teams, and obviously every submission we got, we asked for a few things about people, and the Big Blue Nation bracket was the most vocal about saying, if I can't do March Madness, I'm ready to play hoops at home. So we got some really funny interactions through that. But yeah, the bracket was 64 individual players. Pretty awesome, John. We ended up having every one of the 64 players that was entered into the tournament in the final bracket, everyone made their game. So we did not have a game that didn't get played over the 4 nights. And so yeah, that was pretty awesome. We did it all on PS4. So it was NBA 2K20 played on the PS4. We had quite a few of our contestants that had the PS4 cameras connected to their console. So we were able to, when it fit the broadcast, we were able to include them in the streams. And then to your point, we had hosts that came in that were professional, kind of gaming, esports, do some things around that arena. Aaron Ashley Simon, who's a UK grad, was one of them. Jeff Eisenband was another. They were spectacular, really fantastic. Added some professional aspects to how we wanted it to come across. But we decided early on in the 2 weeks of planning, we said, you know what, the casters here really need to be a part of this environment. It needs to be student voices. It needs to be them kind of carrying the message and getting to sharpen skills. And so we did. We had some UK students, a few that just graduated and a few that are still in school that did it, and it was awesome. They created a great environment. I think they had as much fun as anybody getting a chance to do it, and they're hungry to find another way to do it again.
That's what's so great is there's so many aspects to just in game development or esports. There's so many different parts to that, like people playing, people commentating, the video production. There's so many things that skills that you can learn with all this that goes for other things even beyond to like video games and esports.
Absolutely. That's well said. And one of the examples for us was a young man, George Bell, who was actually one of the casters. George plays a lot of NBA 2K, plays a lot, does a lot of marketing, is a pretty big entrepreneur. So he was already like, I'm entering, I'm ready to play. And then we said, what do you think about casting? And he's like, well, I've never done that before. That's probably out of my comfort zone. Like, well, why don't you give it a try? He does it the first night of the 4 nights. And by the second night, when they come out with the roster for the casters, he's not on it. He's like, I got to get back on this. I loved it. And so he jumped back in the second night a little bit. And
Awesome.
and he's an example of what you're talking about. There are many ways to be involved. We hope that by doing something like Hoops at Home, that as some of the professionals that are putting this on from Gen G, JMI, UK, that we learn more about the roles that are available and opportunities that are out there, so we can bring in more students to the projects, right? We want to invite more young people that want to be involved and around this to see those opportunities, because one thing I saw in putting on the Hoops at Home example was we had some of those engagements in artwork creation, or in some of the things we did behind the camera, if you will, the remote behind the camera work, and the students did it better. The students brought innovation and insight that 44-year-old me was like, that seems risky, and they're like, no, it'll work. Not only did it work, it came across amazing. So it's a good reminder for people like myself that are excited about these opportunities, that we need that kind of community. We need people that want to learn, and then we got to give them a platform to do it.
Yeah, and you're even extending this beyond like college. You're reaching out to high schools, and like you ran the state tournament right earlier this year. So that's what kind of, you're basically trying to reach out to all those groups, right?
Yes, absolutely. The KHSAA example for their esports, they were able to do their fall championship in January, so we got to host it at UK. That meant we got to put on a lot of the accoutrements, the PCs, and bring it together in a really great room in the student center. It was fantastic. So yeah, we want to be involved in more of those projects. I think we have a lot as a university, and we're blessed with a lot of resources, so we have a lot to offer. But two things I would say about that example. One is that it was still amazing how much the students do around that, right? And so I do think in some ways, that esports championship in January was a bit of a little rocket fuel for us to be able to have the confidence to pull off Hoops at Home, just knowing and seeing how committed the young people were to playing Rocket League, or how committed they were to getting their team together on the League of Legends side. I mean, they were in it, and they were setting up before the matches, and they were doing a lot of the work. They were coming alongside. So seeing that really, it reminded me of playing youth sports, and seeing how engaged coaches and players could be in many of those times. The second thing is as we want to be around that, we want to be involved in it, because we see the community around gaming, the interest in esports. We really see it as a pretty amazing fabric across the state. And so I think that engagement with the KHSAA was a good example for us to hear how much work they put into the first year and a half of having that as a recognized sport. And then really being, for us in this 2 years of learning, being able to layer that with how much we've seen, and you guys are just a great example in the work that RunJumpDev continues to do, the outreach, the desire to bring community together. And we want to find ways to be a part of that fabric. So yeah, we want to reach out and figure out how we can bring some of the resources that UK has to the platform to be really social in that capacity, and a part of the fabric, not trying to knit our own.
Yeah, and one of the cool resources that you're working on is that Cornerstone building, right?
Yeah.
Where it's going to be an esports arena. It's like crazy. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that? What that's going to be?
I get in a lot of trouble for calling it an arena. A lot of trouble. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I want it to be an arena. We've got about 4,500, 5,000 square feet. I actually think I've been to some arenas, probably like yourself. I've gotten to visit and travel to see some places over the last couple of years and see the scale of some of these spaces, like the Luxor in Las Vegas, which is a really spectacular venue. and some other places in Arlington and otherwise. I think what we're able to create has really been in the mode and model of a lot of what we've talked about, and a lot of what we talk about kind of on our website and some of our other materials, where we've tried to just help answer the most basic questions that people have about why is UK doing this, and what value right now, right, is there in gaming and esports, and kind of disarm maybe some of the questions from different constituents that might see it as questionable or might see it as it doesn't make a lot of sense. So the space is being really based around the idea of building community. We're going to have PCs laid out for gaming to take place, right, where people can come in. It's not just going to be UK students. It's going to be open to the community. We want to allow that community to come in and get access to some high-powered PCs and get to play the games they'd want to play. But we're also going to have a few thousand square feet that is arena/theater style. So right, it's going to have, we think, a really cool ambiance to it. It's going to seat about 100 or so people, but be able to bring together the viewing aspects of having a few big screens up there so you can see the competition, and then being able to play competitions 3-on-3, 5-on-5, 6-on-6, depending on the game. So we're excited, as you know, and it has been named now the Cornerstone. It's a pretty apt name. It's on a hot corner for our campus and really for our community. If you think about what Limestone is in Lexington and running through that area, through that district. So we'll have the space should be opening this fall. It's still on schedule and moving forward. And yeah, we're super excited about it.
Cool. I'm gonna switch over here, hopefully share my screen. So we've got a speaker series that you're working on that's going to be kind of a continuing kind of effort, right, with all this stuff. Can you maybe talk about the speaker series? And sounds really exciting.
It is. It's awesome, and we've got our first speaker, Mr. Rahman, who's going to come and talk with us about the iRacing simulator. You know, this idea, this is a good example of an idea we're a little bit delayed on because of really what's happened over the last 2 months. We'd hoped to move this a little quicker in the spring, and so May is going to be our first opportunity. We're gonna do it virtually, like this event that you guys are doing for Vector. But the goal here is really to bring in and allow a platform for those that understand the broader context of the gaming space, esports, what you were talking about a few minutes ago, what we were speaking on related to kind of different opportunities in and around the arena, whether that's competitive opportunities, whether that's people that are looking for the creative side. We want to bring together some of these voices, and we want to let them engage with our community. We also want them over time, right? We want to build the type of relationships where people that might be coming out from Kentucky, from University of Kentucky, but also coming out around the state that are involved in this platform, we'd like to connect them back, and the speaker series is a way for us to do that. So the goal is to begin doing this on a monthly basis. We're doing it in May, and our hope is to have a few more lined up as we move towards the fall. But we're really excited about it. I'm intrigued by it. I don't know as much about this topic. I just had a few conversations with Alex Cuttadine, who's one of the people, along with Nathan Stevens at UK, that's helping to pull it together. And I'm pretty excited about it. I think it'll be another fun way to interact, and something that people can learn something from, and also hopefully build some engagement out of.
Yeah, and I think you were talking about that getting the students involved in things, and it's really cool that even you're kind of doing some stuff with the Twitch channel that you've got, and like weekly streams on kind of just video game stuff in general, and getting those students even remotely involved and talking about games and everything.
Absolutely, yeah, and that has been a labor of love. Nathan and Alex both, along with some folks on their team, have done a great job of pulling that together. Broadcasts, I believe it's Wednesday afternoons. They do run the live broadcast on Twitch. Some first efforts to kind of build the continuity and the consistency. And what we're hopeful of is, as we do engage that community, we'll get a lot of feedback, right? Because one thing that I've learned about this space over the last 2 years is the more you can engage with the communities, the more vocal those communities are, the better the product gets, the better the interactions can become. So Everything we're doing right now is really, we hope, being done in such a way that it's like clay. It's moldable. It can be changed. It can evolve. And we think through community, that's really how it becomes something special and something that's really distinctive. So I love the things we're doing. We're going to be watching closely to see how people are interacting and engaging with it, to hopefully stir up some of that involvement and some of that those opinions.
Yeah, and I think it's really exciting to kind of see where all this goes. So maybe can you talk about kind of where you hope it goes? I think we talked about expanding to like game, just in gaming in general, and research and kind of all that kind of stuff. What do you think is the next step?
Yeah, well, we're really hopeful. I'm hopeful as a professional on the campus and somebody who does a lot on the administrative side. I'm very hopeful that folks on the academic and faculty side will see these opportunities as things they want to plug into, right? Whether it's kind of make it a part of some of the curriculum that they're already doing, or in some cases develop new curriculum. We've got great examples at UK of people that are doing, I think, distinctive things already in gaming, whether it's directly involved in esports or more indirectly just involved in the creation or the culture of gaming. Andrew and Brenna Bird and the work that they've done in the Far Cry series with languages is something that I've learned about from you, John, and something I think is an awesome example of how this campus has some really awesome, really smart people inspiring in the work they're doing. So we'd love to see more of that get cultivated. I think post COVID-19, we know that the pace of how faculty are going to be working on their curriculum and how they're going to think about maybe the teaching environment will continue to evolve. So one of the things we're working really hard on campus is just building good relationships and being available to talk about gaming and esports in ways that different folks from different curriculum can understand and digest it. And that's why that's another reason why I don't want to be a broken record, but it's such a reason why for us, the community, this kind of involvement, this type of engagement and reach outs are so important, because the more that the community is demonstrating interest in this and demonstrating involvement, the more that I think campuses like ours at University of Kentucky listen, and the more that these things can influence. Students have a really major voice in the types of things they want to see from curriculum and the types of things they want to learn about in the classroom. I think faculty and instructors really tend to take a lot of cues from that over time. So I want to be a bridge to that, right, within the Smart Campus initiative and within the work we're doing around esports, is to bring that message. So got a lot of hope for it. I'm really excited about what that could look like over the next year.
Yeah, great. It's definitely excited to see where everything goes. This is exciting to see all these communities that you've talked about that exist already, sort of now coming together in really cool initiatives. So so they can go to uky.edu/esports, right? That's the best place maybe to find out about this stuff. You can sign up for newsletters, kind of thing.
You can, absolutely. You can do that. You can find me. I'm pretty easy to find on LinkedIn, or you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Discord. Easy enough to find. Our esports club at UK has a Discord that's available. That's another great place to connect, especially if you just want to talk a little, talk some with student population. Obviously, that Discord is even full of some folks that aren't students at UK, but it's had a pretty cool involvement from high schoolers that are around the area and are really interested in what the club's doing. So those are great places to connect. And yeah, I'm happy to interact with anybody directly, one-on-one. Folks want to find me and just learn a little bit more, or understand ways maybe to be involved, or add ideas and just kind of bring their own personal influence. We would love that. So I really appreciate this opportunity to visit and share a little bit, and thank you for the time.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It was really great. Yeah, I think if you're interested in this stuff at all, there's lots of ways you can reach out and get involved. So thanks for being here, Heath.
Great. Thanks, John.